So we've really been tracking on this show all the ways in which Trump is trying to put his thumb on the scale and basically steal the 2026 midterms and definitely beyond that, the 2028 election. They know they are cooked in a free and fair election. So they are laying the groundwork already to do some funky ass shit and screw Democrats, okay? Now there's a new way that they're trying to do that. So take a look at this. This is from a guy who's a data and political analyst, but he used to be an election official, okay? He says, just spoke with the GOP operative who suggested this is a telegraph of the potentially incoming Trump executive order. An executive order cannot force states to compel voters to show ID to vote, but what they can do is to station federal agents at polling places who would conduct the ID check. So in other words, an illegal ID check. So here's what he says. He says, a striker bill will be heard in the Arizona Senate tomorrow that would require county election officials to enter into an agreement with ICE, allowing them to enter vote centers and polling places. See, this is what I told you about. This is what I warned you about. Trump now, he has his own secret police. He has his own Gestapo. It's basically a paramilitary. They're totally unprofessional. They're untrained. They know they're Trump's shock troops. And so whatever he commands them to do, they're going to do. Look at Bavino. Look at Bavino. So unhinged and so insane that even after multiple murders, he's doubling down and tripling down to the point where Trump was the one who had to say, oh, you know what? Let's send in Hamhead Homan because Hamhead Homan is theoretically a little more moderate. He's only 99% Hitler. Bavino's 100% Hitler. We're going to do that just for optics' sake, right? There's nothing stopping Trump here except Trump. And what they're describing here is, hey, you need to work at the state level. You need to work with ICE at the federal level because they're going to be the ones. Trump is going to scream bloody murder. He's going to scream that there's fraud. And he's going to do it if there's a red mirage scenario, which is very likely, where Republicans are up and the vote on election day. But as soon as the mail-in votes come in, Democrats take a massive lead. They're just going to scream and cry and bitch and moan and whine and say, that's illegitimate. That's not real. That is vote dumps in the middle of the night. It's being stolen. It's being flipped. You got Hugo Chavez is flipping it even though he's dead. This is what they said in 2020. They're going to do it again for the midterms in 2026. And now his way of addressing it this time is, as soon as you start seeing Democrats take a lead because the mail-in votes are being counted, he's going to go, that's irregular. There's massive vote dumps for Democrats. It's fraudulent. I'm sending in ICE. Okay? And actually what they're describing here is a little different because what they're saying is, just send in ICE to do illegal ID checks, which I don't know about you, but it's going to disincentivize some people from voting if they just see masked guys in fucking military gear holding guns at the polling place in the first place. That alone is going to lead to fewer people voting. And then when you have an illegal ID check, that's also a problem, right? Especially because what do they want to do? They want you to have to show your fucking passport and your driver's license, and in some cases, your fucking birth certificate. They're trying to disenfranchise so many people with this SAVE Act bullshit, for example. But this is what we're looking at now. Trump has plans to have ICE there on election day, and then soon as things start going the Democrats' way, he's going to do something drastic, okay? And as soon as they take the ballots or as soon as they take the machines, at any point, the election is tainted and we'll never know the true results. We never will. Because as soon as that chain of custody gets broken, then it's a crapshoot. And I don't trust these fucking people as far as I can throw them. This whole regime is full of criminals and liars. So this is red alert, y'all. Red alert. Absolute red alert is what we're talking about here. Okay? I got to show you this too. This is about, you guys know how there was a right-wing asshole who bought the Dominion voting machines, right? And so they bought, the right-wing guy, MAGA guy, bought the Dominion voting machines and the company, and then they were involved in claiming some sort of fraud, which then allowed a Missouri federal judge that they shopped for, basically, to allow the feds to seize the Fulton County, Georgia ballots. So you see, it's already crazy that they're like finding weaknesses and exploiting loopholes to illegally seize the Fulton County, Georgia ballots from 2020. And my guess is what Trump is working on is he's going to come out there and say, or have Tulsi Gabbard come out there and say, oh, it turns out it was stolen in Fulton County, Georgia. And they're probably trying to convince Maduro to say, oh, yes, I helped steal the election for Biden in 2020 and to give him a lighter sentence for that. This is where we are now. Like, again, it's all happening. The idea that, for once in his life, Trump is going to, see the light and decide I'm going to play it straight and be honest. And when I get blown out in the next election, I'll take it like a gentleman. It's not going to fucking happen. It's not going to happen. But listen to this. This is about Dominion voting machines and what happened since then. Here we go.
Okay, so we need to talk about something really quick. This is something everybody is going to need to participate in because, unfortunately, it's a big ask, but it's important. I've heard people talking recently about Executive Order 14248, which Trump signed last year. It sets a lot of new rules and precedents for how contests are conducted. But it says that states have to be in compliance with their contest machines, otherwise they will not receive funding for said contests. And of course, the people that are instantly considered in compliance with this is Liberty. Liberty was formerly Dominion, and they were purchased by a MAGA Trump humper. So now people are going to be encouraged to use Liberty. Some people are saying that any state that is not in compliance or using Liberty, their contest is going to be deemed illegitimate. It just means that they will be drastically reduced in their funding, which is going to hinder the process. But this still does not change the fact that none of us should be trusting Liberty as far as we can fucking throw them. Unfortunately, they were used in half of the states in 2024. Here is every state in the U.S. that used them in 2024, back when they were still called Dominion. If you live in one of these states, you need to call your senators and your representatives, and you need to call your fucking governor and tell them to not use these machines.
You better check to make sure you're enrolled to vote, by the way. The huge thing. Definitely check to make sure you're enrolled to vote because they do ballot spoiling, they do ballot purging. They try to disenfranchise any Democratic voters. So if you're especially if you're black or brown, they hyper-target those communities. If you have a black-sounding name, for example, they will try to kick your ass off the ballot, and you'll go to vote, and it'll be like, sorry, you're not on the rolls, right? And then a bunch of places don't have same-day registration, so you're sort of cooked. Or they'll give you a provisional ballot, but only like half the provisional ballots are even counted, okay? So definitely check that. The other thing is vote on Election Day. It will be harder for him to pull all this off if we're up from beginning to end, if Democrats are up from beginning to end, okay? So vote on Election Day. Don't vote by mail. Let's be up from the very beginning. And also make sure you're registered to vote. And also, this stuff is super important too. That now we have, I mean, it should obviously be illegal. We shouldn't even have private voting companies, right? Like, that's just crazy to me right off the bat that any private company should be able to get a contract for shit like this. But especially, like, having it owned by some MAGA hack. Like, could you imagine some, like, card-carrying Democratic Socialist person owned voting machines? The right would just, like, fucking riot. They would riot. They would not allow that. So this is crazy that we're in this place already, given how we're already on thin ice with Trump being such an election denier and being hell-bent on destroying the integrity of our elections.
We need to raise a massive stink about this, because they are already trying to compromise things from within. And if a MAGA Trump humper now owning the company for contests that are conducted in half of the states is not already a bullshit conflict of interest, I don't know what is. Everyone needs to call their officials and demand that they do not use these machines.
But then there's also this, ready? So what's Trump doing these days? Trump shared an old One American News report that falsely claimed Dominion switched votes in 2020. Fox News, Newsmax, and One American News settled lawsuits totaling hundreds of millions of dollars. He's sharing an old report that was so factually inaccurate that they got sued by Dominion and lost. And he's casually sharing this again in the year 2026. This is so crazy.
According to an unaudited analysis of data obtained from Edison Research, states using Dominion voting systems may have switched as many as 435,000 votes from President Trump.
Total lie. Total lie. And he's sharing this again in the year 2026. There were literal lawsuits over these lies, and One American News lost. The right-wing outlets lost.
And the author also finds another 2.7 million Trump votes appear to have been deleted by Dominion, including almost 1 million Trump votes in Pennsylvania alone.
And remember, guys, the reason why he's doing this is to justify and rationalize what he's about to do. The more he doesn't shut the fuck up about how he says 2020 was stolen, 2020 was stolen, 2020 was stolen, the easier it is for him to now go, well, they stole it in 2020, and they're doing it right now, right again in front of us, so I have to do something to save democracy. That's how he's going to phrase it. That's how he's going to frame it. Just like that. And so that's the strategy. It's not like, this isn't like some haphazard, oh, he's just posting because he sees. No, there's a strategy to this. And the strategy is convince people the shit was rigged then so that they'll believe more easily that it's rigged now, so that when he goes in and actually rigs it, he gets to scream. It's classic projection, psychological projection. They're doing the thing And they're guilty of it, even though I'm literally doing it right now. So, not good, y'all. Not good. In some sense, this is like the calm before the storm, because Lord only knows what's going to happen in 2026. The other thing is, I would call your Democratic officials at the state level, and I would say, look, we need local police and state police and even state National Guard. They need to be on standby, because we actually need them to block ICE from illegally seizing these ballots. We do, because they're going to try to do it. They're going to try to do it. And boom, that's it. That's the end of American democracy. Like that.
Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.